Hey everyone, good to see you again. I'm Anne-Marie Green.
And I'm Vladimir Duthier. Explosive revelations from former acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe. During his 60 Minutes interview with Scott Pelley, he admits there were discussions about secretly recording President Trump.
He also believes that he was fired for opening 2 investigations against the president. Major Garrett now on what this could mean for the Trump administration.
Andrew McCabe said the days after President Trump fired former FBI Director James Comey were chaotic and confusing. As he and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein discussed the president's motivations, Rosenstein made an extraordinary suggestion.
The Deputy Attorney General offered to wear a wire into the White House. He said, I never get searched when I go into the White House. I could easily wear a recording device. They wouldn't know it was there. Now, he was not joking. He was absolutely serious. And in fact, he brought it up in the next meeting we had. I never actually considered taking him up on the offer. I did discuss it with my general counsel and my leadership team back at the FBI after he brought it up the first time.
The point of Rosenstein wearing the wire into a meeting with the president was what? What did he hope to obtain?
I can't characterize what Rod was thinking or what he was hoping at that moment. But the reason you would have someone wear a concealed recording device would be to collect evidence. And in this case, what was the true nature of the president's motivation in calling for the firing of Jim Comey?
The general counsel of the FBI and the leadership team you spoke with said what about this idea?
I think the general counsel had a heart attack. And when he got up off the floor, he said, that's a bridge too far. We're not there yet.
The Justice Department has denied Rosenstein authorized the use of a wire to record the president. On another matter, this concerning Mr. Trump's skepticism of U.S. intelligence, McCabe recalled hearing a startling example from an FBI official who met with the president.
The president launched into several unrelated diatribes. One of those was commenting on the recent missile launches by the government of North Korea. And essentially the president said he did not believe that the North Koreans had the capability to hit us here with ballistic missiles in the United States. And he did not believe that because President Putin had told him they did not. President Putin had told him that the North Koreans don't actually have those missiles.
And U.S. intelligence was telling the president what?
Intelligence officials in the briefing responded that that was not consistent with any of the intelligence our government possesses, to which the president replied, I don't care, I believe Putin.
Major Garrett is now with us from the White House. So, Major, President Trump has this morning sent many heated tweets about this. He wrote this, wow, so many lies. He and Rod Rosenstein looked like they were planning a very illegal act and got caught. Over the weekend, he even quoted Rush Limbaugh, saying his investigators should be thrown in jail. So, the president, his concerns, are they valid?
Well, that's not for me to determine, number one. That's going to be sorted out in politics. It's going to be sorted out through the congressional oversight process. And it's going to be sorted out in terms of what the FBI did and how it can defend what it did in the context not just of these 2 separate investigations launched against the president, but what the FBI did or didn't do in terms of the Hillary Clinton email investigation in 2016. And it's worth noting in all this that the Justice Department Inspector General did put out a report several months ago that criticized several top FBI officials for not following FBI protocol in that Hillary Clinton investigation. So the FBI's hands are not thoroughly clean in this matter, and it's one thing that the president and his defenders routinely point out. Also, in this long-running conversation about what the president's motivations were or were not in the firing of former FBI Director James Comey, the White House has always asserted it doesn't matter what the president's motivations were. The president had every authority as commander-in-chief, chief executive in the federal government to fire James Comey. And upon his firing, when James Comey sent an email to FBI staff, he said exactly the same thing. The president can fire me for any reason or no reason at all. Nevertheless, Andrew McCabe said he was certain that there needed to at least be an investigation into those underlying motivations to see if the president either considered obstructing justice or was actively obstructing justice. That's part and parcel of what Special Counsel Robert Mueller is trying to deduce as well. It's also worth noting that McCabe told 60 Minutes in all of his interactions with the president, he kept memorandum about those conversations and that all those memos have been turned over to Mueller's staff.
So, Major, one of the more sort of stunning components of this interview had to do with when McCabe talked about whether or not Rod Rosenstein offered to wear a wire to tape the president. This story had been leaked several months ago, and Rod Rosenstein had reacted saying, you know, it was a joke. It was humor. Well, that was what sort of the sources indicated to CBS News, that it was said in humor. But McCabe said no way, that he was very, very serious, and that, in fact, he brought it up a couple of times. So Lindsey Graham said on Face the Nation that he wants to see an investigation. He wants to see McCabe testify under oath, and Rod Rosenstein, about what exactly went down. Let's listen to what he said on Face the Nation.
And was this an attempted bureaucratic coup? I don't know. I don't know who's telling the truth. I know Rosenstein's vehemently denied it, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. Well, we're going to find out what happened here, and the only way I know to find out is to call the people in under oath and find out, through questioning, who's telling the truth, because the underlying accusation is beyond stunning.
I think that's a good way of characterizing it. It is beyond stunning. How do you see something like this playing out?
Well, Lindsey Graham is chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, which means he can call a hearing. And he can, if necessary, and if either Andrew McCabe or Rod Rosenstein decline to appear voluntarily, subpoena both for testimony under oath. And testimony under oath is quite different than publishing a book. You have certain requirements in book publishing, but if you lie to Congress, as we've learned throughout this story, you can get into very serious legal jeopardy. So when Lindsey Graham says there's going to be a hearing, guess what? There's going to be a hearing. Why? Because he is in position to organize said hearing and conduct it in the way he sees fit, including subpoenas and swearing them both in under oath. And I do think there is more than general public interest in who's telling the truth here. Was Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, just spitballing or joking or having some kind of comedic aside amid all of this chaos and pressure in the days right after James Comey was fired as FBI Director? Or was he seriously suggesting surveilling the President of the United States surreptitiously with some kind of electronic recording device? There's more than passing interest in whether or not that is true. And there are two people who could quite clearly offer sworn testimony about that, Andrew McCabe and Rod Rosenstein. So I would just say, stay tuned. This is not going to go away.
Yeah, I don't think so. Just the beginning. Major Garrett, thank you so much.
Sure.